Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you can have a seat and scoot up a little bit closer to those microphones so we can all hear you. And could you go ahead and state and spell your name for the court?
My name is Sher Miguel Schwarz. I am Sherri, Miguel, Mcgill, Schwarz, Schwartz.
Right. And what is your day job?
I work for the last, still 37 years full-time at Piedmont Hospital as the echo, sonographer, and nurse.
Now, in your free time, do you volunteer for an organization called A-Star?
I do. It's called Alpha Teen Canine Search and Rescue. It is a 501c team that assists law enforcement to help find the missing.
Now, how long have you been with the organization?
20 years.
And do you utilize the aid of any sort of canine resources in your work?
Yes. So many of us are canine handlers. I am one. And I have 2 dogs that I use. One just retired, and the one I have currently is a cadaver dog.
And what kind of dog is the cadaver dog?
Sierra is her name.
Very good.
And she is a blonde Labrador Retriever.
So Sierra, does she have any sort of training to look for cadavers or bodies?
Yes. So our team is, we work very hard and we're very proud of what we do. We train at least 3 times during the month. We slowly, I had her since she was 8 weeks old. So we start right away with obedience, sociability, and then the target odor. So she goes through 3 different levels in our team, and she's also gone through several national certifications.
Okay. Now, back in November of 2021, around November 22nd of 2021, were you and Sierra called out to help with the sort of outside search of a U-Haul van that was in part of an investigation with the Gwinnett County Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what location you and Sierra went to conduct this search?
So I know it was 3 different searches, and that particular one was at the headquarters of the police department, Gwinnett.
So the other searches, did those involve actually trying to find Amari, a little girl, Amari?
Yes.
And that was on previous to the search of the U-Haul van?
The first search was by the hotel.
Okay.
And then the second one was the van.
Okay.
And then there was the third one.
Okay. So let's talk about the van. What was the purpose of bringing Sierra out to the van?
I think they wanted to find out if there was a possible body that was transported.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibits 93, 94, and 95. And Judge, these let me show you these first real quick, Ms. Schwarz. What are these photographs of?
That looks like the van that I searched.
Okay.
She searched.
That Sierra searched?
Yes, Sierra searched.
And before we get into that, briefly, Judge, I would move to tender into evidence States Exhibits 93, 94, and 95, pursuant to the fact that there has been a stipulation for the foundation of these 3 photographs previously between the parties.
That's correct, Judge. As to these exhibits, no objection.
No objection. They're admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish some of these?
You may.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to show you States Exhibit number 93. This is a U-Haul van, and it looks like it's noted with a license plate AL06742. Is that the van that you and Sierra searched? Looks like the van?
It looks like the van. I don't remember the tag numbers.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. And then also States Exhibit number 95. Does that look like the open cargo area of the van that you and Sierra searched?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if there is any sort of alert that is given by Sierra, what would that alert be?
So what happens when the dog's trained in the behavior of finding, and her target odor is human remains.
Okay.
They have what we call alert behavior, which they do not control that behavior. It may be increased respirations, a tail wag, more excitement, but then we train them to present a behavior called the final train response. And that is a trained behavior when she's located and able to find that particular target odor.
Was there any kind of an alert given when Sierra went around and into this van?
No.
And how old is Sierra?
She currently is 4 years old.
So back then she would have been about a year old?
She was 17 months old.
Okay. And was this, had Sierra been doing searches, cadaver searches before this day?
So
outside of training?
She was young. This was her second search.
Now, are there any reasons in your training and your experience where a cadaver dog might not alert in an area where there could have been a body?
Yes. I assume she was unable to detect anything, any human remains. Am I allowed to give an analogy?
Sure.
Okay. So if, for instance, you had pizza in your office and you ate all the pizza and there's no pizza left, and your coworkers came in, they would know that you had pizza. But after a few days, they would not know that you had that pizza. So if there was nothing left behind, she would not detect anything.
Would any sort of a barrier on a body prevent odor from emitting?
It would depend on how long, if the body had decomposed over a length of time and how much permeable that material was. It could have prevented her from smelling that odor.
And what about the length of time itself? How does that affect any potential alerts?
Well, if there was nothing left behind, then she may not have detected anything, given I'm not sure how long. So if it had been several days, but if there was something left behind, physical, yes, she probably would have detected it.
Can odor, in your experience in training, be cleaned away with products
Yes,
like bleach or any other types of items?
yes,
Okay. And this search occurred on November 22nd, is that correct?
yes.
There you go.
Sorry.
That's all the questions I have, Judge, for Ms. Schwarz. Thank you.
Mr. Greenwald.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Schwarz. How are you?
Good morning. Well, thank you.
When you say that Sierra's trained to alert, can you tell us what she would do in the case of finding some remains or evidence of remains? What would she specifically do?
So her trained final response is the term we use, that we give them we train them to give a behavior. Her trained response is a focused bark.
Is that like a constant barking or just one bark
It's repetitive barking.
at a specific spot?
It would be where she detects most of the odor.
And what was physically done in this case, was she sent into the van?
So usually what I do when I'm looking at a vehicle, we'll start away from the vehicle that's the target. Usually I ask not to know. In this case, I believe I did know. So that way I keep I don't want to influence her in any way. So I'll start her away from the van, let her work independently, and then send her off to the van to search. We usually search clockwise and then counterclockwise.
And was she asked to search any other items or areas, locations other than the van?
The inside of the cargo space, I put her in there to search.
Was Sierra tasked with searching any other places?
Not at that particular area, but as I said earlier, we did search near the hotel And then we also searched another area that was a possible dumping area.
Thank you.
May I redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
May the witness be excused?
She may.
Ma'am?
Go.
Shepherd at home who just retired. I thought she would appreciate that. State ready for your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, due to some scheduling issues, we would be presenting our additional witnesses after lunch.
Okay. All right. So we'll take an early lunch today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to release you and ask you guys to be back at 1 o'clock downstairs in jury assembly. I'm going to